privilege to live in a region where the presence of nature can always be felt. Magnificent waterfalls tumble into cool, clear rivers, and tropical rainforests are filled with plant and animal life. There are hot springs and crater lakes in the mountains, and beaches of every hue fringe the crystal waters that surround us. The heritage of our people spans continents, giving us a culture that is rich and diverse. This is truly a region of contrasts. I'm Alison Leacock, and I'm going to share with you the colors of the Caribbean. Geographically, the Caribbean is one of the most unique areas of the world. From Cuba and the Bahamas in the north to Trinidad and Tobago in the south, the islands form a 1,000-mile volcanic and coral arc cradling the Caribbean Sea, one of the world's calmest oceans. There are over 25 major islands and countless tiny pieces of paradise in the Caribbean, oases of sand and palm trees set in waters that are every shade of blue. The incredible beauty of the region has inspired many of the world's top writers and musicians who claim Caribbean roots. And Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe is said to have been set on an imaginary Caribbean island. Plant life thrives in this perfect climate, and many islands boast lush, dense rainforests, amazing wildlife, and colorful flora and fauna. For many years, the Caribbean economy has thrived on the sun-seeking tourists that flock from all parts of the globe. And it's not only our white sandy beaches and clear turquoise waters that draw visitors. Many seek adventure beneath the surface, in the underwater world of scuba diving. An abundance of marine life gives divers hours of pleasure as they explore new dive destinations and exciting wrecks, accompanied by schools of brightly colored fish. Our calm waters also provide enjoyment to many cruising and sailing fanatics who spend lavish vacations on board luxury cruise ships and yachts. The growing popularity of ecotourism has brought a new kind of traveler to the Caribbean islands. These visitors are not drawn by sun, sea, or sand. They come to experience the sights and sounds of the primeval rainforests, marvel at the ancient fern trees, and be entertained by birdsong. They climb the same trails that we did, to experience the peace and calm of a crater lake 3,000 feet above sea level. Or to discover breathtakingly beautiful waterfalls like Trafalgar Falls in Dominica, where hot and cold streams flow from beneath the Earth's surface. Sulfur springs, similar to those responsible for heating the water in Trafalgar Falls, bubble to the Earth's surface in a very dramatic way in St. Lucia's Soufriere volcano, an awe-inspiring sight. Despite our sometimes steamy surroundings, the Caribbean islands are cooled by constant trade winds from the east, giving us a near-perfect climate the year round. The strong breezes offshore create ideal conditions for some of the world's most prestigious water sports events and regattas. Aruba now holds the Caribbean's most prestigious windsurfing events, and several islands, including the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Martinique, Guadeloupe, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago, are fast becoming known in the surfing world. International regattas held in Antigua, Grenada, and St. Martin attract hundreds of experienced yachtsmen from across the globe. The Caribbean region is rich in history and culture, and visitors return again and again, these days for pleasure, not for plunder, as in previous centuries. The Amerindians are thought to have been the earliest settlers, but the Carib, Arawak, and Taino civilization crumbled under the European invasion, which began in the 16th century. Remarkably, a few isolated Amerindian settlements still remain today. Dominica, Jamaica, and St. Vincent are among the islands where pure generations of Amerindians can still be found, survivors of the ethnic mixing that has occurred throughout the Caribbean. In the interior of Guyana, descendants of Indian tribes can be seen bathing along the banks of the Essequibo River. The river is also used by the Indians as a means of transportation to and from the towns and farms. We took a trek through the northern mountains of Dominica to visit the Carib Indian reservation there. The winding hillside road, which took us through miles of Indian territory, is lined with lush vegetation and small homesteads. Thatched huts are used for the sale of a wide selection of vegetables and craft. The territory is self-sufficient, and the Indians rely mostly on the land and sea for their survival. The cave and rock drawings that can be found throughout the Caribbean are a fascinating link with the artistry of the early Amerindians. For 300 years, the Dutch, French, Spanish, and English fought for ownership of these desirable islands, many of the islands changing hands several times. In fact, it's thought that the islanders didn't know if they were going to be English or French when they woke up. It was during this time that the slave trade with Africa began, bringing cheap labor to work the huge sugar plantations. impressive forts, originally built to ward off intruders, have been extensively restored, and now they welcome visitors from all over the world. The restoration of Caribbean fortresses is an example of the region's commitment to maintaining the rich history of the islands. Brimstone Hill on St. Kitts, dubbed the Gibraltar of the Caribbean due to its size and inaccessible location, is now a national park undergoing continuous restoration. Ruins of smaller forts can be seen scattered throughout the Caribbean, mostly set overlooking the harbors which were the lifeline of trade between Europe and the West Indies. The Europeans were responsible for building more than forts. They created a familiar atmosphere in a faraway land, resulting in a mixture of Dutch, French, Spanish, and British styles of architecture throughout the island. Many Caribbean towns have maintained this old-world look, despite the more widely used modern architecture. The tiny Dutch island of Saba is a picturesque example of the Euro-Caribbean look. After a 10-minute flight from St. Martin, we landed on what is thought to be the world's shortest airstrip and found ourselves in an area of unspoilt beauty. The shortness of the airstrip is due to the fact that the hillside rises steeply out of the water, so there is no such thing as flat land on Saba. Perched on the hillsides, we found picture-perfect cottages. The red-roofed churches set against the rolling hills are also a sight to behold. Many Caribbean islands, like Saba, have not seen a rapid growth of population or infrastructure, and have been able to maintain their British, French, and Spanish styles of architecture. In others, like the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, and Trinidad, towns have grown into cities, and the authentic feel of quaint buildings and narrow streets has been replaced by a Caribbean-style metropolis. Luckily, in the vast majority of the Caribbean islands, visitors can still marvel at the intricate designs of the gingerbread cottages, painted in beautiful, bright colors. The descendants of the Amerindians, African slaves, European masters and indentured servants, traders from the East and merchants from the West, all form the cultural and social potpourri that makes these islands so diverse. Village life is prevalent in the Caribbean, the villages having grown around the plantations of the colonial era. The clear waters of the Caribbean are home to an abundance of fish, providing a dependable livelihood for many fishermen. As a result, succulent fresh seafood is featured strongly on the local menus of many restaurants, both small and large. Fishing villages can be found scattered around the islands, set in hidden coves along the coastlines, surrounded by lush green hillsides. Although life in the fishing villages has changed little over the years, inland, the massive cotton, tobacco, and sugar estates have gone. The great houses, once the hub of the plantations, can now often be found lovingly renovated and serving as small plantation inns and tourist attractions. Some transport you to a bygone era with exhibits of antiques of all kinds. Others mix the old-time look with modern convenience to provide hospitality and service for the traveler who seeks relaxation in a historic setting. Sugarcane is still grown in the Caribbean, but on a much smaller scale, the estates having been replaced by small farms. And there's a wide variety of produce which farmers bring to town on market day. Many of the island's staple foods were originally brought here by Christopher Columbus or on the slave ships coming from Africa. Nowadays, every marketplace on every island in the Eastern Caribbean has an abundance of fruit and vegetables that everybody savors and enjoys.
Well, everything that we have is locally grown, and these are our local seasoning. This is chive, parsley. Our celery is very small, but yet very tasty. And then we have a very hot pepper, which we call a bonda majak.
To the Amerindians and Africans, dance had strong social and religious significance. Fused over the years with colonial influences, dance has now become a medium with which we communicate our history in shows that are filled with music and color. And of course, there's carnival. Every island has its form of carnival, And the energetic promotion of the Caribbean as a holiday destination has ensured that the festivals get bigger and better every year. Trinidad and Tobago was the pioneer of street festivals in the Caribbean, and Carnival there has become world famous as the largest street festival with the best designed costumes. The music and color of these festivals are echoed in the arts and crafts, the fabrics and fashions that are appreciated and enjoyed by both visitors and locals. Another much appreciated art form is cuisine. Thank you. Caribbean cuisine is now enjoying international acclaim, winning accolades for excellence. But excellent food is not the only thing to be enjoyed in the Caribbean's hotels and luxury resorts. No expense has been spared in offering you the widest choice possible of leisure activities. The Caribbean is truly more than just sun, sea, and sand. Prior to the 1990s, the Caribbean was basking in the prosperity created by steadily increasing tourist arrivals. In an increasingly competitive market, the region has had to re-evaluate and then market its many strengths. And as a result, every imaginable tropical vacation package now exists. There are hotels to suit every taste and pocket, from intimate plantation house hotels set amid tropical gardens to elegant resorts on magnificent beaches. Days spent browsing through shops of every kind. Nights filled with entertainment and fun. Whatever your pleasure, you'll find it waiting here for you in the easily accessible islands of the Caribbean. Those that visit us and take time to explore the magic of the islands, our people, our culture, our music, and our dance, are certain to experience the true colors of the most diverse region on earth, our Caribbean. was a great pleasure being your guide as we travel the islands together. I do hope you'll join me as we explore each island in depth in the rest of the series of the Caribbean Video Collection. I'll see you then.